Now this thing right here is something that I've been waiting for such a long time. And it's finally here, the DJI O4 Air Unit Pro. Let's get started.
In the city and I'm lurking 60. If the brother's on the L, then I think you know the word. All the rest be in the luggage and it's going to a turn. Everybody in the messing with the herd. I'm in the city and I'm lurking 60. If the brother's on the L, then I think you know the word. All the rest be in the.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm super excited for this one as we have the O4 Air Unit Pro here in my hands. And as an FPV enthusiast, this is going to be a complete new chapter for everyone flying FPV, and I'm super pumped to tell you more about it. So first things first, DJI came out not only with the O4 Air Unit Pro today, they also released the regular O4 Air Unit, which is a smaller air unit meant to be used on smaller quads, sub 3-inch frames. And it's also meant to be used for racing with ultra low latency between 15 and 20 milliseconds, which is quite insane. But today we'll focus mostly on the Air Unit Pro, as this is something that I've been using for the past couple of weeks, and I have a lot of things to mention in this video. Now let's examine the O4 Air Unit Pro and then see how it stacks up against the older generation, the O3 Air Unit. Visually, we can see that the new unit retains its small form factor, and while slightly growing in length, it's also a bit shorter than its predecessor, with a casing that has a lot of vents for better heat dissipation from all sides. On the right hand side of the unit, we have the USB-C port for activation and file transfer. The microSD card slot has moved from the right to the left side, where we can also see the bind button together with a small text and a small arrow indicating where exactly the button is, as previously the button was not always very visible, so I like this move. Again, some text and an arrow could also be seen on the back of the Air Unit, where we have the connectors for the dual antennas, which now exit the unit as two separate antennas as opposed to the single antenna exit on the O3 Air Unit. On the front we have the camera cable as well as the connector to plug in your flight controller, which luckily is exactly the same one as the O3 Air Unit, so swapping units for your builds will be very easy. However, the biggest difference comes from the front, where we have the new massive camera, which now uses a 1/1.3-inch CMOS sensor, and you can definitely notice the massive increase in the size from the front when you compare the cameras side by side. One thing I'm a little bit puzzled about is the new mounting holes on the new camera, which are now positioned very differently from before, which means that the way you will be mounting this camera will be different and will definitely require some adaptations to your frame for mounting it softly and avoiding vibrations in your footage. Now, I personally mounted it with one screw per side only to my GEP RC Vapor X frame, and I haven't really experienced any issues with vibrations myself, but I'm sure that won't be the case for every single frame out there, so just keep that in mind. Now that we've seen how the Air Unit looks like, let's talk about all the new features and improvements that it actually brings to the table. Starting out first with the biggest new change coming to the O4 Air Unit Pro, and that is the O4 transmission. With a dual antenna design and a latency between 15 to 20 milliseconds compared to the 30 milliseconds of the O3 Air Unit, you can now achieve a maximum transmission distance of 15 kilometers with the O4 Air Unit Pro and have a 1080p 100 frames per second live view in your goggles. The camera on this new Air Unit has been drastically improved, allowing you to shoot 4K 120 frames per second from its 1/1.3-inch CMOS sensor. Similarly to the O3 Air Unit, the camera retains its maximum field of view of 155 degrees, which is a ultra-wide field of view, but that's probably the only thing that remains exactly the same as the O3 Air Unit. Now looking at the DVR of the O4 Air Unit Pro, and you will see the signal stays rock solid at 60 megabits per second for most of the time. Now of course it's still dropping when you go behind a big line of trees or behind solid rocks or concrete, just like any other signal would, but for regular flying you'll notice a big boost in the signal strength, which will give you a lot of confidence to fly freely and enjoy the scenery. If you have flown the Avata 2, this is a very similar experience in terms of signal degradation and signal strength. And I think the biggest difference is that you can mount this unit to any quad you like and zip it around as much as you like. As a freestyle drone, long-range drone or a Cinewhoop, it's really up to you. It's just a very enjoyable experience, and the footage you're able to get is a good attest to that. As usual, we have normal color profile and 10-bit dlog-m, both of which look great, but my personal favorite is dlog-m, of course, and the way your footage can be graded with it just pops so much and has a lot of detail that you can bring back, especially if you turn down the digital sharpness from the menus a little bit and add it yourself in post. It just looks stunning with just a few clicks. Now, I still haven't tested the maximum range of this air unit yet. That will come in a future video, so be on the lookout for it and subscribe if you want to see it when it drops. But from what I've experienced so far, it definitely seems like it has a lot to offer. So I'm really excited to check this out myself. When talking about the camera of the O4 Air Unit Pro, there are two more things that I want to mention that are very interesting. First, it seems that this camera is modular, meaning that you have an interchangeable camera lens. In case you break it, you can replace just that part, and that's something that will be easily interchangeable with these two screws here. We have a screw on top and screw on the bottom. They will allow us to release the camera lens from the mechanism and just replace it with something else. And finally, for those of you having the Vata 2, you will be happy to hear that the Vata 2 filters work perfectly fine with this exact camera. They are very similar, if not exactly the same cameras after all, so of course the ND filters that come with the Vata 2 can also be used for the O4 Air Unit Pro, which is a huge time saver and money saver as well. One of the biggest new changes that DJI is coming out with this year is the new racing mode available on the O4 Air Unit Pro and also on the new O4 Air Unit. So if you want to take advantage of that, you can simply go into the settings of the goggles in the transmission menu and enable racing mode, and that will default your transmission quality to 1080p at 100 frames per second with a bitrate between 20 and 30 megabits per second, and then your latency will be reduced to a minimum of 15 milliseconds, supporting up to 8 drones racing simultaneously, and you can take advantage of that if you're using the Goggles 3 or the Goggles N3. You have a built-in storage on the Air Unit O4 Pro of 4 gigabytes, which to me is kind of unusual, and it's super low. It's definitely not enough for any type of video that can be recorded, especially if it's longer than 2-3 minutes. But you can of course expand your storage by using a micro SD card up to 512 gigabytes. I'm sure many of you would be curious to know if the new O4 Air Unit Pro would work with your current components, such as your FPV remote controllers with your DJI goggles, and I'm happy to confirm that they would most probably work. Now, if you're running goggles from the Goggles 2 upwards, meaning the Goggles 2, the Goggles Integra, the Goggles 3 or the Goggles N3, you will be happy to hear that the Air Unit O4 Pro will be supported by all of these different goggles. Or if you're using the DJI FPV Remote Controller 2 or the DJI FPV Remote Controller 3, they would be supported and work with the O4 Air Unit Pro straight out of the box. Of course, it goes without saying that if you're running a custom remote controller from Radiomaster, Jumper, TBS or any other brand out there, they would also be supported and work with the O4 Air Unit Pro with a receiver such as ELRS, Crossfire, etc. You know the deal. If you're into FPV, you know the deal, and it still works just like before. Funny story, on my very first flight with the O4 Air Unit Pro, I actually crashed and broke it. There's a whole new video about that coming tomorrow to my YouTube channel because I want to share the whole experience. It's been a very rocky and weird experience, to say the least, but I want to share it because it's important to share your fails as well, and I think it will be helpful for many of you to know what happened and how you can avoid that from happening to you. So stay tuned for that. The video is dropping tomorrow on my YouTube channel, so subscribe if you want to see it. At the moment, I still don't know the exact prices of the DJI O4 Air Unit, so I'll link it down below in the description if you want to check it out, if you want to buy one yourself. This will be an affiliate link, so if you want to support my channel while doing your shopping for the new O4 Air Unit, you'll be very much welcome, and I want to thank you in advance. And that's pretty much it from today's video, guys. I want to hear back from you. What do you think about the O4 Air Unit and of course the O4 Air Unit Pro? Please let me know down in the comment section below, and subscribe for many more upcoming videos with the O4 Air Unit Pro in the next couple of days. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Never stop flying, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.